Hello and welcome to another episode of Swapping Joysticks. I am your host, Ben Ossick, otherwise known as Biggest Bennett, and joining me, as always, he was doing his hair, but he's back now.
I was not ready.
Ed Nightingale, how are you doing, Ed? Well, some of us have work tomorrow in the morning.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Are we racing today?
Yeah, we're racing through it. We've got so much to get through.
Sure.
How's life?
How's life? Life's been all right. I had a long weekend. I shock horror, took some time off work.
To do work.
Yeah. Which is fine. But we went to the Final Fantasy Rebirth concert
Forgot about that. We did,
on
yes.
Saturday,
Yes,
which was a lot of fun
it was.
and a bit spoilery for you.
Well, I went and... Well, luckily we had nosebleed seats and the chair
Wow.
wasn't...
Are you calling me cheap?
Well, I'm saying when I book things, we tend to get decent seats, and when Ed books things, we're, got the opera glasses out. But at least,
Well,
the
you
great
can
thing
go
is
on your own next time.
we were in the nosebleed seats, but we also had the added bonus that we weren't facing the stage, so that was lucky for me because,
I will just say, the Royal Albert Hall is circular. So it's not that we weren't like in front of the stage. It's just
Behind
we
a
weren't
pillar.
like right at the back. We were sort of towards the side bit. But
restricted view
it
by
is-
the toilets.
It literally wasn't.
So yeah, we had it was facing the rest of it because we were at like the sides. But I was glad of that because I haven't finished Rebirth and they decided to show lots of the game in the background. And I'm like, okay, cool, but yeah, I kind of been the only person that hadn't finished the game that was sat there. It's a long game and it only came out a few months ago. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a massive fan of video game concerts that show the game in the background. It's like, it's the music. We're there to enjoy the music.
Says the man who doesn't finish the games first.
Well, yeah, because I've got
Because
other
I
things to
finished
do.
the game and then I watch it and I'm like, oh, that was a nice reminder of that. Oh, I remember that bit. Oh, I'd forgotten about that bit. And it just made me want to replay it again. It
Although-
reminded me of all the good bits.
They did put it in slightly out of order because I was watching a bit and I'm like, oh, why is that? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
no.
they jumped around a lot. It wasn't like Elden Ring was literally in order. This was just jumping around, playing different songs.
Yeah. Anyway, it was very cool to be there and the music was great. Some of the songs were really good and some of the songs that I really enjoyed were ones that I'd not heard before and apparently were coming up. So yeah, looking forward to experiencing that.
Yes.
And it made me want to go and play it more, which I think it did for a few people as well who hadn't finished it.
Same.
Yeah, well, it made
I
you
want
want
to play it again.
You always say that.
I know.
Every
I
time
don't know
there's
if
something
it's
about
fine.
a game, there'll be a little article about a game, and you're like, "Oh, I want to replay
I
that."
just like games, Ben.
Well, grow up.
Wow. Screw you, nerd.
But there are so many games coming out all the time, every single month, that you won't even be able to play all the new games. Never mind go and replay old games that aren't even amazing. I mean, Rebirth is, but
Well,
so far.
that's the thing. Most of the time, I'm playing the new games because it's my job to be up to date.
Mm.
And sometimes it's nice to go back and have that sort of heartwarming, nice feeling of playing an old game that you like. And sometimes it is nice to go back and play an old game again. And I just very rarely get the chance to.
Yeah, I will do a replay of Death Stranding soon, I promise.
That sounds like a threat.
Yeah. But anyway, more Death Stranding in the news.
Spoiler.
I've been twiddling the knobs and the sound, so I don't know if I sound amazing today, but never mind. We're yeah.
What do you mean if you sound amazing?
I think my microphone sounds like it's when I talk like this, it kind of hits a limit, but I think it keeps doing it. But I'll keep fiddling. I'll keep messing with the knobs.
You do that plenty, yeah?
Yes, I do. But yeah, we did that, and we got to. Oh, it was great because we went with Peter Bramhill, who voices Thancred in Final Fantasy XIV. And one of the people, as we were leaving, there was a person wearing a Scions of the Seventh Dawn who are like the main group in Final Fantasy XIV and the main team, and Thancred is one of them. And Peter, when he walked past, he was like, "Oh, nice T-shirt." And she's like, "Oh, thank you very much." And then I was like, "I'm not letting him get away with this." I was like, explained who he was, and she was like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" And like when Peter left, because Peter was a bit ahead of us, and we were all filing out, I heard her turn to a friend and be like, "Oh my god, like, that happened. Did that happen?"
Look at you being nice.
Well, no, I was joking with him earlier, saying we would, you might get spotted. So I'm like, well, he nearly did. Well, it's like, well, there was somebody there that would have known who he was. So it'd be funny if she turned around and just went, "Yeah, I play with Japanese voices."
Yeah, I don't know who you are. Sorry. I think there were lots of people. I mean, we were in the afternoon. There was an evening one as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think there were lots of people from throughout the series at one or both of the concerts.
Yeah, we stood at a pub, didn't we? Afterwards, had a few drinks, and the amount of people that like without
That's hot tea.
yeah, without sounding like snobs, like the amount of people that spotted us from there, because I think we must have been at a
Don't
place.
tell people that, Ben.
Friends spotted us. Like that was
Because
it.
we're so popular and everybody knows us.
No,
We
it
just
was
stand outside a
literally
pub
just
and get
friends.
spotted.
I think we were just standing outside a pub in like a very busy road that everybody that was going to the concert
Yes.
ended up going past, and I'm not easy to miss.
That's true.
Not
You
easy,
are
yeah.
tall.
Yeah, so that was cool. We just ended up hanging out there for ages.
It was a lovely day.
It was, and then back on Sunday, back to just at home, and then I was like, But
Were you?
I had a good stream. Yeah, no, it's like sometimes when I
I
have
thought you were streaming. You were having a lovely time.
Well, I won't say that streaming was depressing me. I wouldn't
Oh,
dream
good.
of saying that. But no, I was no, it was just like, oh, yeah, back to routine. I love a big day out of doing things that are fun.
Yeah.
I wish every day was like that. I think I would make a good farmer.
Really?
Just being outside all day doing stuff and seeing progress on things.
Absolutely not.
No?
No. Manual work, not interested. Outside, not interested.
Yeah. Oh, we had a talk by somebody today at work who was really like very, very successful, does a lot of amazing stuff for charity. And he was saying that he goes to the gym at lunchtime for an hour, and because he wants to be in like a really good mood and positive and like full of energy for the afternoon. And I was like, for me that would be the case, but
Absolutely not.
no.
I'd be tired and depressed for the whole afternoon.
I don't understand you. Like, people get endorphins when they work out, but you don't
I
seem
get
to have that.
tired. My body does not create endorphins. They don't exist in me. I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Yeah, you go to the gym and you come back and you're like, I hate everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe if you went, yeah, I don't know, if you go more, you like it more.
No, that won't happen.
I don't know, because I'm like not a big gym goer. I should probably. In fact, maybe I should at lunchtime. Because, yeah, it does wake me up and perks me, and you feel like when your body's
If it works
aching a
for you,
little
then
bit.
do it.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me.
Well, maybe go to the shop on your own.
That's fine.
To be honest, we should get a weekly shop in.
Great chat, Ben.
Yeah. Do you get weekly shops in? Let us know in the comments below.
Or don't.
Or do you go every single lunchtime to see what, and then stand in the aisle of M&S and go, what should we have for lunch today? What do you want for dinner?
It's an excuse to get out of the house.
Go to the gym. That's out of the house.
No.
Go for a walk.
Rather eat.
Go for a walk to the nearest park.
Where's that?
I don't know. Dodge the kind of needles and things. And
Oh, lovely.
anyway, so we did that. What else have we done?
We
Have done anything else?
also watched the Vince McMahon documentary.
McMahon, yes. Oh yeah. Sorry, I've just realised what we're doing next Tuesday.
Oh yeah,
We're off to see Peter Kay.
we are.
We'll let you know how that goes next week. But yeah, what we were saying, yeah,
Vince McMahon.
Vince McMahon, who is the former owner and CEO, whatever,
I'll
of
let you talk about it.
WWF that became WWE, and to somebody who's followed this and kind of grew up with WWE, and that was like that was the most exciting thing for me when we got Sky TV installed. I was like, oh my god, I can watch wrestling, because I used to go and watch it because it used to be on Channel 4 in like the middle of the night, and I used to tape it. But only the pay-per-views, like the big main events, would be on Channel 4. If I remember rightly, like Raw and SmackDown, which were the weekly shows, they would only be on Sky, or maybe highlights on terrestrial TV. So yeah, when we got Sky, I was obsessed, loved it. Through the Attitude Era. And the Attitude Era, when I was a kid, I was like, this is amazing. It's just complete carnage, batshit crazy. And looking back on it in the documentary, I'm like, oh, that was fucked up. That was really messed up with the stuff that they did. The exploitative of minorities and women and disabilities. just a horrible. They couldn't get away with it now, and I'm surprised they did then, to be honest, even though it was a different time. So yeah, we watched that, and we just. So did you know anything about Vince McMahon?
Not him specifically. I've never been a wrestling fan. During that era was when I had friends who watched it when I was like 11, 12.
Mm-hmm.
And I played the N64 wrestling
No
game.
Mercy. It's a great game.
Was it No Mercy?
It's one of them. Maybe they had more.
Yeah. Well, there was that. I think the PlayStation had SmackDown, maybe.
SmackDown and then SmackDown versus Raw. Yeah.
Yeah, and the N64 had a different one, which I played with friends at house parties or
Warzone.
sleepovers.
Warzone was actually one I think I played.
Oh.
Yeah, WWF Warzone.
So I learned a little bit about like The Undertaker and
and also WWF
Kane.
WrestleMania.
Yeah,
WrestleMania 2000.
That's what I played, I think.
Okay.
And The Rock and various wrestlers from that time.
Mm-hmm.
But I never watched it. I only knew it from sort of vicariously through friends playing it and watching it themselves. And then, yeah, we watched this documentary and it just cemented why I hate wrestling.
Oh, it's weird because I don't like the over Americanization of things. It annoys me, and like really annoys me. But for some reason, I think because to me wrestling is 100% American, so they're not bastardizing something else. Like when they do the ridiculous over Americanization of like F1 and stuff. To be honest, I go along with it. Actually, it's quite funny, but also it's like it's F1. But like the World Cup apparently is getting its own halftime show for 30 minutes or whatever. And it's like, no, 15 minutes, make a cup of tea, go and have a quick shit and come back for the rest.
Have a slice of orange.
Exactly. So, yeah, no, like, so I kind of grew up with that and it didn't bother me at all. And it was like, I always used to love soaps, except for EastEnders, but like Coronation Street, I used to love. So it was just like a soap opera, but it was live and involved almost naked men. And it was just like that.
No. It's like vague acting that is like bad porn.
Yeah, that's what bad porn is. Bad acting.
Yeah. It's just really bad porn. And then they all pretend to fight each other. I mean, yes, they pretend they do fight each other. But I have no interest in watching people punch each other in the face.
Well, you don't like boxing or UFC or anything, do you?
I just don't like violence.
Well.
Not to be a prim and proper and prude, but like I just don't particularly enjoy people fighting each other. It really does not entertain me.
Does it remind you of
no? And then everything else about wrestling is just loud and bombastic and crass.
Did you get beaten up as a kid?
Yes.
There we go. Now we know.
No, it's nothing to do with that. Violence is not the answer. Violence is not intelligent. And
so that's why.
Yeah, and so then when it's just two people giving really bad porno performances and then hitting each other, I'm like, I just have no interest in that.
See, I'm down for that.
No. And then now on top of that, I realised the guy that ran it was a complete arsehole.
To put it lightly, yeah.
And just a horrible, horrible person. I'm like, yeah, I want nothing to do with wrestling ever again.
Yeah, he was awful. But yeah, so I'd recommend watching it, definitely. It's everything you can imagine.
It's a great documentary.
If you've ever watched,
it's very eye-opening.
If you ever watched WWE or WWF and you know like the character Mr. McMahon, it sounds like he was very similar to his character. So
there was no acting.
There was no acting, and yeah, it was just an extension of him in many, many ways. And yeah, not a good. What was the one thing that surprised you the most?
I mean, none of it surprised me because from what you'd said, he was a bad person.
Yeah.
So I went in knowing he's a bad person. If anything, it sort of wasn't shocking enough.
Yeah.
Because my levels were like, it's going to be really bad. And it was really bad.
But it's like, I don't know, I was quite surprised by his childhood. And he was like, oh yeah, my dad only said he loved me when he was dying. And he only ever once said that he was proud of me. And I'm like, oh, this kind of toxic masculinity kind of stuff of a father that won't hug their child. It's just, I hated, and I'm glad that nowadays that seems to be very, very much a minority thing as opposed to like, in the 60s and the 50s. But Jesus, it ruined so many people. So many like old people now are messed up because of like how their parents were just, no loving. The father never got any love for the father, so they had to completely just prove themselves all the time to try and get that one bit of congratulations. It's just sad and pathetic.
So wrestling went on this entire journey as an industry, and all this stuff happened, and good and bad, and all this wild stuff. Why? Daddy issues.
Yeah, it's always daddy issues.
Always daddy issues.
Anyway, well,
so
that's
that was wrestling.
Yeah, that was.
We watched that this week.
Recommend it. Go and watch it.
We played some games as well.
We did play some games, not many. Well, we did play others, but we were not allowed to talk about them.
Well, I will be talking next week about what I've been playing.
Yes, because I could also talk about it because there's a demo out. and I think what I played was in the demo.
Yes.
So,
Well, now it's obvious.
well, shall I just quickly say what I played the demo of?
Go for it.
I played a little bit of the demo of Metaphor Refantazio, or Fantasio, depending on what video.
Fantasio. There's a lot of names. No,
Yeah.
I mean, from the demo, it doesn't ever say that.
Didn't even say the name.
No. So people
Okay.
keep just changing it.
So yeah, we'll talk about that next week. But what I played so far, I really, really, really loved. It is Persona, but with a fantasy skin on it. We'll talk more about it next week. And anyway, other games I've been playing. Well, let's talk about what we've both been playing. You've been playing, and I've been playing Balatro, because it's out on
Yes.
mobile.
At long last. It came out early this year, and I think, well, I played it on the Steam Deck.
I played on
your
Steam Deck, Switch, and phone. I've played it on all three.
Wow. And I think we were saying when it was on Steam, this would make a great mobile game. And sure enough, they've now released it on mobile. So it's out on, it's part of Apple Arcade,
Yeah,
but you can buy it separately as well, I think.
Can you?
I think so.
I don't know.
I don't think it's exclusive.
Okay. It's really, really good. And when they announced that it was coming to mobile, I didn't play anymore because I was like, that's going to be the place I play it. And I've got to say, playing it on the mobile, even though I don't know if they were always planning on putting it on mobile. I'm sure they had that idea because the controls feel way more natural on mobile than it does on Steam Deck or on Switch or anything like that.
Well, on Steam Deck, did you play it with the
Controller.
controls?
Oh yeah, did you do touchscreen?
So I did it with touchscreen. On Steam Deck. So
and
now
like dragging and stuff.
Yeah. So now
on my Steam Deck, you've got your grubby fingers on my Steam Deck.
all over it.
I wondered what the smudges were.
Yeah. So playing it on mobile, it's intuitive because that's literally how I played it to begin with. So if you haven't played Balatro, basically it is a poker roguelike, which sounds terrible.
Pogue-like.
And if I explain it to you, you're going to be like, what the hell is this game? This sounds really boring. Essentially, you have your deck of cards and you have to make rounds, or hands, I should say, based on poker hands. And you have a threshold of points, which is the blind, and you have to try and exceed that threshold with the hands that you make based on hands of poker. However, you then get access to different jokers, and there are like a couple of hundred jokers, I think.
I don't know.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of jokers. And the jokers basically give you sort of extra abilities or multipliers and things like that. So maybe all diamond cards get a buff, or maybe there's an extra multiplier if you get a flush or something like that. And so you then start adding jokers in. You're allowed 5. And then you get tarot cards and celestial cards to enhance your deck of cards in different ways and improve your multipliers so that you can reach bigger and bigger scores as you go to each round that has a bigger score. And if you don't hit it, you go back to the beginning and start again, which is why it's like a roguelike.
Yeah.
And the idea is to get to the 8th level, which I still not hit.
I hit the 8th level very, very early on in my first time playing it. And I've been to the 7th and to the end of the 7th a few times. But like on mobile, I haven't. I got, actually, no, I think I might have got to the end of the 6th or maybe at the beginning of the 7th. But I haven't got any further than that. I feel like I don't know if it wasn't as balanced when I first got it, because it does feel now that it is a bit trickier.
It's just your luck, Ben.
Yeah, you sometimes do get good luck or bad luck. Like I've had it where I've done a run and I've lost in like the 3rd round. Like not the 3rd round, but like the 3rd game in the 1st round. So like sometimes things just don't fall for you. But it's just like, it's just poker. I imagine I've never played poker, but it's just like using like gamifying poker hands with loads of really video game stuff, like leveling up the points that you get for each hand, or like you said, getting these jokers that every face card that you use will give you an extra 4 multiplier. So you build up these. You can then, like, as you play, if you want to get to the 8th and you want to complete it, you need to have tactics. So you need to be like, okay, I want to, like, I get something, maybe you get a joker at the beginning that's like, hey, the diamond suites, or if you use a diamond card, you get a 20 multiplier. And you're like, okay, so I'm going to spend this trying to change all of my cards in my deck of cards to like diamonds. So every time there's a chance I unlock something that says like, hey, swap a couple of cards out. I'm going to do that, but swapping them out for more diamonds. So you can be very, very specific about what kind of scoring you're going to go for. And that's where you get the really high points.
Yeah, it's about making your own luck.
Yeah.
And the more you play, the more you know what jokers are available and what cards are available, you can start to sort of make connections and say, oh, well, actually, if I have this joker and then upgrade this, then it's going to improve your chances, and you start to see what goes together. So, and then that's how you get to the top scores.
I've got to say, before I played it quite early on, like on Steam. But I remember getting it because I was listening to podcasts talking about how good it was, and not a single one ever managed to explain it in a way that was easy to understand. So just go and play it.
Well, hopefully we did.
I don't think we did.
Probably not.
There are people like, yeah, something to do with, they'll just be, I don't think people will quite understand.
And that's the thing, is that it sounds really boring.
Yeah.
Like, it's a card game for points. But it's so compelling to just keep trying and trying. I think because it's got that roguelike structure where, you know, you fail, you go back to the beginning and you're like, oh, I'll just try again. And sometimes your run might last 10 minutes. Sometimes it could last 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Depending on the jokers that you get. And
it always seems to end just as we're pulling up to the station, which is very kind, although I wasn't like the 7th round. And I'm like, oh, we are finishing now. I'm like, fine, I'm coming up to my train station, but also...
Weirdly, that happens to me as well.
Do you do it on the toilet?
No, because I'll be sat there for too long.
Yeah, I thought you were a while on Wednesday. I thought you were playing Balatro.
It's just TikTok.
Oh, TikTok. TikTok toilet. Toilet, TikTok, Balatro, bus. If Ed would ever get the bus.
What's your fate?
I was just going to quickly say, I never, ever, ever played poker before, ever. And I still don't know what the hands are. So if anybody's looking at this being like, oh, I don't understand poker or anything like that, do not worry. You don't need to know it. And there's a button that's available at all times that will tell you the types of scoring you can do, whether it's like a straight, which is... like 5 in a row, so like a 5, a 6, and a 7, and 8, and a 9, or whatever. But it's all in any suite, yeah. Or you can have a flush, which is one you were mentioning, which is 5 all in the same suite. Which is like if you're managing to swap out some of your cards, and let's say halfway through your deck of 52 is actually a deck of 50, but you've swapped out 10 other suites for hearts, so then you've got like way more of one suite than the other, then like it's going to make it quite easy to get a flush. But yeah, what were you going to say?
What's your favorite joker out of the ones you've used?
Oh, I can't remember. I think I remember. Wait, I can't remember, and I think I remember. I don't know. There was one that was really good. It was like I like the one just like, you know, certain suite is buffed. Yeah. Because then if I've got a lot of that, then I'm like, well, great, that's going to really help. But yeah, you're gonna. I know which one you're gonna pick.
Do you?
Yeah.
So there's one which basically, so you're for a flush or a straight, you have to have 5 cards. But there's one joker that reduces that, so you only need to have 4 cards. So then you can get 1, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I can't count. Would count as a straight rather than needing a 5th card,
which is very useful. But although only 4 cards would then count, so you would actually get fewer points.
Yeah, but you're much more likely to get that.
Yeah.
And what you then do is you use the celestial cards, which will boost the multiplier you get for each type of hand. So then you use that to improve your flush or your straight to a high level, so that every time you do that, you're getting more points anyway. And then all those jokers and cards start to link together. And I think my top hand is like 65,000 in one.
Nice.
Hand, which is, I think, quite good.
Sometimes everything lines up.
Yeah. And it's so satisfying when that happens.
There is one, I don't think it's it might be a joker, and it's like if you've it's a card, so you can actually modify some of the cards. And one of the cards was like, if you've got this in your hand at the end of a round, or at the end of a round, then they will give you a celestial card based on the last hand that you gave. So I've done that before, and I remember leveling up my flush from like level 5 to level 10 in literally like 2 Oh, what are they called again?
Blinds,
No.
rounds,
Well, they've got antes.
ante.
Antes, like, it's a weird way they explain it, but there are 3, for every ante, there are 3 missions type thing that you have to do.
Rounds.
Rounds are different, but anyway, just go and play it. There's no way that we can make it sound any less complicated, but you'll get it when you play it because it explains it very easily to you. And yeah, and it's a really, 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 really fun, addictive game that runs on pretty much anything, and it's also a great handheld one. So if you don't game on your mobile, in fact, it is on Android as well, so it's on both iOS and Android. But if you don't really want to have it on there, then yeah, you can. It's a really good Steam Deck game. It's a great Switch game. Go and play it.
Yeah, if you want something for journeys on the train or something like that.
Oh my god, it makes the train journey go
very quick.
so quickly. Okay. Speaking of cards,
I was going to say, you've been playing other card games.
yeah, I've been playing a bit of TCG Card Shop
TCG
Card Shop Simulator. Do you know what TCG stands for?
Trading card game.
Yes, Trading Card Game Card Shop Simulator, which is a reskin, I believe, of like Supermarket Simulator. It's just kind of like that model, but with trading cards. And yeah, it's pretty much exactly what you imagine it is. It's in early access, so it looks a bit ropey. And you have a shop that starts off, and you have a little bit of money to start with. You buy some trading card packs, and then you sell them. Now, these trading cards are very, very... If you think Pal World was a rip-off of Pokemon, just wait till you see these. It's very much... I'm sure they're hoping it isn't too much of a success, because Pokemon might be like, oh... but I mean, they don't have
just change the art.
Well, they could, but also the game isn't very... I think they're ripping off like a bit of all of them. And also, Pokemon haven't released a card shop simulator. It's not like it's not like the genres are across. It's because the game isn't a carding game. Well, it's a collecting maybe more than a battling one. But anyway, yeah, you set it up and you sell the packs, and people will wander around and wander in and buy things from you. And yeah, with that money, you then expand and expand and expand, and you eventually like unlock certain packs. They go to sell like mouse mats in there. You can sell, deodorant. I'll talk about in a second, but yeah, there's like everything you can imagine with a trading card game shop. You've got there.
All the types of merch.
And they have all types of merch. So for the trading cards, they're all like very Pokemon-esque ones. But you can also buy packs of the plushies of the characters or the animals or monsters or whatever in the cards. So yeah, it's for example, if there was like if it was a real Pokemon game, you would have a load of Pokemon cards and you'd be able to get like the Pikachus and the Raichu plushies and stuff that people buy, and there's a nice profit on them. And the other cool thing is that you can put down tables and chairs, and people will literally buy and also play the game. So they'll just sit down, and then someone else will come and join them, and you'll see them playing the games. And it's quite interesting seeing them actually. I mean, they're not actually playing it, but like them holding the cards, and you can see every one of their cards that they're holding. And yeah, people.
So it looks realistic.
No.
Oh.
But I mean, that bit there's a nice little attention to detail on that, just not on really anything else. One of my favorite things is that, yeah, you can sell, they call it odorant, I think it is. It's not deodorant because I think it's for like clean, or it's like a cleanser or whatever, but it's like a spray, like air freshener. And every now and again, one of the customers will come in with like a big green gas cloud around them.
Like a horrible, stinky nerd.
I mean, and then, so you have to kind of chase them and spray them and make them smell nice. And it's definitely the stereotype, I guess, that, trading card games are going to be some smelly nerds, and it's quite fun.
We've been to conventions. We know what it's like.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit...
People do not wear deodorant when they should.
We went to an event, I won't say what it was, but they were like, yeah, there's deodorant in the bathroom if you need it.
Which was very thoughtful.
It was, but also it's kind of sad that it needs to be said, like,
well,
wear deodorant, people. And brush your teeth. So that was, yeah, and so it's just like one of those that's like grinding and grinding. You buy stuff, so you use your profits to buy more stock, and as you're doing that, you're leveling up, so you're able to buy like better stock that has a better profit on it or a higher profit on it. and then you can spend that money as well to expand, so your shop becomes bigger and you're able to stock more things. And there's an automatic room deodorizer, so if a stinky person walks in, they get sprayed immediately and you don't have to go and chase them. There's one where so the other part of this game, which is the bit that a lot of people I think are getting a bit addicted to, is you can open the packs themselves. So you can actually just take some packs off the shelf and open them, and going and seeing and it tells you every time you turn a card, it tells you the value of it. But it could be 2 pence, 4 pence, and then suddenly 25. And you're like, whoa, okay. So another thing that you can do is you can sell the packs and you can sell all the merch, but you can also sell individual cards. And yeah, so you've got stands that can sell them. So the ones that are really expensive, you can keep. You can even buy a display case and just put the most expensive cards in there if you want, or you can sell them. So yeah, that's another thing you can do. And I guess
you have to decide then, when you get a big box of packs, how many do you want to sell as packs and how many do you want to open?
Yes.
With the risk of, will this actually have a good card in or not?
Yeah, and the thing is, when they sell cards, the packs, I'd say nearly all of the time when I've opened a pack, the value of that pack has been more than what we're selling the pack for. Because another thing is the pricing always has a market value that continues to change. It's quite in depth. So it'll tell you the market price, and I usually put it up by 10, 20% higher than that and make it round, because you have to do all the change, and giving back 97 pence instead of just 50p is a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
So yeah, I used to do a bit of rounding there, but yeah, it tells you the market price, and so you've got to constantly go around and be like, oh my god, everywhere else, all the other shops around have increased this price by 20%, so we should do that, otherwise, we're going to, we've got a chance of making some more money on that. But yeah, so you've got to keep an eye on the market price, and it also does the market price for the expensive cards as well. But I've seen people at a really high level get some incredible cards, some really rare ones that are worth 400, 500, 600 pounds in game, or dollars, depending on what currency you choose. So yeah, it's really, I find it a really good fun. I was doing it with crowd control, which, even though the game's only just a few weeks, not even weeks, singularly week, come out, it's already got crowd control. So if you stream it on Twitch, people can influence your game by making donations or by using bits, and that was great fun. So people were turning on and off the lights and teleporting me outside the shop.
I made you play properly.
You made me do the maths.
I made you play with inverted y-axis, which is the correct way.
Horrendous. I was oh my god, it was horrific.
It was correct.
Well, I think somebody did inverted x-axis. I think Moni, and maybe you did as well, did inverted x-axis and inverted y-axis, and I literally could not move. I had to think before moving moving the thumbstick, joystick, or whatever.
The thing is, what's annoying is that non-inverted has become the default.
Of course, because it's non-inverted.
But it's wrong.
Wait, non-inverted?
Inverted is correct.
No.
And for instance, when we go to Gamescom and you play a demo, the first thing I do is go straight into the options and change it. And the number of demos that didn't have that, and I was then struggling with having to do it that way, really irritated me.
Oh well, what a pity. Never mind.
So I made you play it properly.
You did for a minute. Well, thank you.
It was money well spent.
Thank you for the donation.
You're welcome.
So yeah, that's the card shop. TCG or whatever. The trading card game, Card Shop Simulator. I'm definitely going to be playing more. It's a very addictive game, and I would like to because it's early access as well. So
I was just going to say, it's early access. Do you know what more could be added in the full game?
I imagine you can level up even more. I would that was another thing. I would love there to be decorations in the shop, because at the moment it's very standard and very boring. I'd just let me put posters up. Let me change the floor, maybe. Let me put some kind of stands around. I'd like a Godzilla statue or something in the corner, and I know something like that. Just make it a bit more, and I'm sure they will. If this is early access, then that's the kind of thing I can 100% imagine they do. And it'd be interesting to see what Supermarket Simulator's like, because that obviously doesn't need to have anything fancy. But I am quite interested in Supermarket Simulator to see if that's any more advanced, because I think that came out quite a bit before. But yeah, I will definitely play more of it. I want to get to a much higher level. I want to have legendary card. I want to be able to sell the legendary cards and open them myself and see what I can get. But I know people that have found like chroma versions of cards or blank or like black and white versions that are worth 400 in-game pounds, and you know they've got the collection. But yeah, it's one of those simulator games, but because it's a little nerdy, I think it's it's interested a lot of creators. But also, speaking of crowd control, you haven't got the news up yet, have you? Oh, or what they've been playing. Well, speaking of, because we have another game that we haven't spoken about, which we've forgotten. Speaking of crowd control, Ed did Dark Souls 3, and I spent £40 on finishing and ruining the game for you.
Thanks for that.
Just very quickly.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3. I think I'm actually going to carry on with it on stream in a bit, because I've played it before, really enjoyed it. It's a great game, and I really enjoyed playing it again, but was playing it with crowd control for charity. And yes, one of the redemptions is to end the game, skip to credits, and then you can choose to start it again from the beginning as a +1 New Game Plus.
I'll go to your last bonfire, which I expected you to do.
Or just carry on from where you were. And I thought, do you know what? The whole point of this is to force you to do New Game Plus. So do you know what? I'll do it. So I went right back to the beginning again and started the game again. And I'd only done like one boss, which is the tutorial one. So yeah, I was in the first level, and then you booted me back to the beginning of the game, and it's then New Game Plus level, but I had barely leveled up at all, hadn't leveled up my weapon at all, so it was so hard. Even basic enemies I was struggling to kill. Ran through and got to the tutorial boss again that I was chipping away at in tiny amounts and dying instantly, which made it very difficult.
But you did it.
Well, I did it because chat was very kind and redeemed a lot of invincibilities for me.
Good. Good.
To help me through. So I eventually got through, and I got to like a later boss as well. So I am slowly getting through it, and I think I might actually carry on with that run.
Oh yeah,
even though it's New Game Plus, I think I will carry on with it.
That'll be good. Another game that we played that we haven't talked about, we had a VR evening, and I think we should definitely talk about Synapse. So Synapse is it's Endreams, a VR game. We've not played too much of it, very briefly, but we just tested it, and I really want to play more of it. It is a cover shooter one, but it also uses kind of telekinesis and mind-bending powers. So it uses the PlayStation PSVR controllers, and then like your right hand is your gun, and your left hand, you can use it to kind of, it's weird because if you're going to cover, you like lean down and push up, and then your body goes down behind it, which I thought was really cool. But you can use your left hand, to kind of control things. So there might be a cube, and you can just lift it up with your hand and slam it down and throw it at people, and it just feels really, really good. You were watching it while I was playing it, and I don't think you were like, oh, that wasn't as impressive looking at it. But then what was it like when you actually played?
Well, yeah, like it didn't look great watching it. Not that it didn't look great. Just it's the kind of thing, and I think this is part of the problem with VR.
I think so, yeah.
Is that when you're in it, it's great, but watching somebody else do it, it just looks. I don't know. It just doesn't work the same. It doesn't look great. So yeah, I was a bit like, okay, I'd heard good things about it and thought this is cool. And saw you playing and thought, okay, like you're like shooting and not aiming very well, or it looked like the telekinesis was a bit awkward. But then when you're in it,
when Ed had to go in it,
when I was in it, it was amazing. And then you when you're inside it, it looks so much better, and you do genuinely feel like you're in it.
Yeah.
And the controls feel great for aiming or just like throwing stuff. And
because it's in a cover shooter, you're not like necessarily running around all the time. So it's sometimes when you're running around, it can be a bit. But
yeah, it wasn't too vommy for me actually, because a lot of games I really struggle with, and that even though you're fully moving around, it didn't feel too bad.
I think it's because you're doing quite small things. I did feel a bit weird when I jumped off the top of that ledge to the bottom.
A little bit, yeah. I think what's also impressive is that it's kind of a roguelike sort of thing almost.
I think it's just levels.
Or it's just levels.
But like you go, yeah, it is levels, because I did that to redo quite a bit. So there's no, but you do get like
you
the
have
powers.
Like skill trees and all this kind of stuff to like go through.
I think it is a bit of a roguelike, or at least if you've unlocked a power or something during a level, then when you go back, you've got it from the start. You don't have to do it again.
Right. So it's not just a kind of quick VR shooting thing. Like it's genuinely
It's a full game.
decent full-size game in there, which makes it very cool. And also the voice acting is Jennifer Hale and David Hayter, who is Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid.
It is a solid game.
You've got David Hayter in your ear, which is nice.
And apparently it is coming soon to Steam. And I hope that will bring a new bunch of people because I really want to play a lot more of that. I think we'll have to move the sofa out of the living room, like put it to the side in the living room and just have a day playing that because I'm, really, really invested. And PSVR 2 is a really good headset. Go and play it.
It really is.
If you go buy one right now, even if you haven't got it enough, just go and buy it. Get into your overdraft.
Don't do that.
No, don't.
Don't listen to Ben.
But there's some really good games. I mean, we also played things like Job Simulator, Holiday or Vacation Simulator, which was good fun. Not enough space in here, unfortunately, for it. And also we played the golf game, Walkabout Golf.
That was genuinely quite
mini
fun.
golf. Yeah, I was like, oh, it's really difficult. Then I watched you play, and you were like, yeah, no, and you were doing very well.
I don't know about that.
I think I'm sporty in real life.
No.
Probably no, but compared to you, I think I'm
that's not
better.
hard.
I'm better at like physical games like that.
I'm not
in
good.
real life.
I'm not good in real life.
No, but video games, you
But
are much
virtual
better.
things I'm amazing at.
Yeah, I imagine if we did mini golf, real mini golf together, I would win. But like
Yes.
virtual mini golf, you did definitely wipe the floor with me.
I'll take that.
I'm happy to be, physically superior.
Sure.
I wouldn't say
Well,
that.
let's see what everyone else has been playing. And I think we know because there's a little game that came out in the last week called The Legend of Zelda, which we haven't played yet.
Zelda's
and I desperately
Awakening.
want to. It is on my list.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be jumping on it as soon as I have finished other things that I've been playing for work. So lots of people have been playing it. And we start with Glinsky, who says, da 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 da.
Oh, I thought it was like a da 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 da. What's that song?
don't
Like Dad's Army or something. It wasn't that.
I don't know. Because Glinsky's written da 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 da, and I was trying to work out which jingle it was. So I was thinking, is it da 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 da? But no, it's not that. But it's da 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 da. I think is what he was going for.
I thought it was da 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 da.
Wrong series. Right, Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I've not been this engrossed in a game in a long time, to the point that yesterday I didn't even do a single game of Dead by Daylight.
Oh,
which,
God.
I mean, why would you do that
I
anyway?
think you're becoming straight then.
Yeah, watch out. I'll try to keep spoilers to what I saw in the trailer. Thank you. Zelda feels so different mechanically to Link. It really feeds into the lore of her being the holder of the Triforce of Wisdom. She's powerful, but in a more tactical, sage-like manner. You can prioritize different abilities for different playstyles, and the accessory system enhances this with different combos, meaning you can traverse more easily, or recover your energy for more sword form use, as well as other effects, or just use everything at your disposal. The dungeons are fun, with a ton of puzzles to cater for Zelda's playstyle. There's been a couple of I'm such an idiot moments, where the solution has been to do something I've been doing all game, just in a different manner. One of the bosses in particular made me so happy to see them again after an extended absence. Whoever that is, I don't know. The world is excellent. Every character, even if they aren't related to any sort of quest, is worth talking to, and every corner is worth exploring, especially as your array of abilities and echoes increases. They've also considered how the world is different for Zelda than Link. Blank for spoiler that I won't look at. The graphics design has taken the Link's Awakening remake and made everything better. There are some cons. It is an easy game, especially when one of the first echoes you get is a bed that you can rest in to recover, is usable almost everywhere, and there's even an accessory to speed this up. Combined with being able to carry over a dozen potions at a time, though some of the enemies can take away chunks of health, you have so much recovery this is rarely an issue. The Echo management system could do with a customizable favorites page, as if it isn't a recent acquisition or one you use a lot, you will be scrolling for a while. Finally, a minor quibble, though I see why the dungeons are available in batches, one of the first two is so much simpler that those really should have been made linear. Interesting. I'm looking forward to playing it. I know a lot of people have been playing it, so we'll maybe have thoughts with, or maybe against Glinsky. We'll see. Helios says, now for something completely unlike Zelda.
Yay.
Yay. Started and finished Saints Row 2022.
Yeah, that game.
Yes, that game.
The one that was critically panned.
It was. It didn't do very well. I remember it
Closed
had
his whole studio down.
Well, yeah. It had a really good character creator,
Yes.
which they released beforehand, which looked great. I have to start by saying I love the original series, especially 3, because 4 jumped the shark pretty bad, but it was still fun.
Did you play any?
I've never played a Saints Row.
I've only played a little bit of 1 and was like, I want to play GTA.
Yeah, it's basically GTA, but silly, right?
Yeah, which I probably should have got into back in the day, but never did.
So the reboot. I haven't seen or read any reviews, but I'm aware the reception was pretty mild. Unfortunately, I have almost nothing but praise for it. Interesting. It stays very faithful to the series themes, which are pretty much what if GTA was a lot more fun and so much more stylish. Interesting. And it is. It's very fun and very stylish. The standout is for sure the character creator, which is accessible throughout the game at any point from your phone. I made my boss so fucking in bold, hot and slutty. I literally fell in love with him during the course of the game. I think that might have something to do with how much you like it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like that. If there's a hot character, I will really enjoy the game.
Here we go. It's the best character creator I've ever used and works better than the standalone boss factory they made to demo it. That's why I had to go on that, I think. The story is an origin story, how you and your 3 very diverse friends established the criminal organization called the Saints. The 3 friends all have their own personal side stories, and the LARP one, where the already exaggerated and cartoonish violence is made even crazier by you and your enemies miming your attacks and shooting darts instead of bullets, is a highlight of the game. The world map is filled with activities, and with the exception of the returning Mayhem activity and the gliders ones, the rest boil down to either driving somewhere really fast or really carefully and shooting everybody really quickly or really slowly. So why all the low scores and bad reviews? Even in this final version I played, there are still bugs. I cannot imagine what it was like at launch. The humour and the attitude has been turned down from previous titles, and I guess fans expected it to only go up. That's where my rational explanation for the poor reception ends. 4th game was ridiculous, and it abandoned the restraints of the open world crime sim in favour of being more like an Infamous clone. They wrote themselves in a dead end with 4, and a reboot was the only option. Also, the humour was always very early South Park-like, and even South Park stopped doing that 2 decades ago. It was high time they abandoned it too. And let's talk about diversity. The fact that the entire story revolves around an Asian, bisexual, shirtless DJ, a black, geeky tech nerd, and a Latina immigrant art collector car mechanic doesn't surprise me. It rubs some people the wrong way. Anyway, if you liked any of the original 4 games, I think you'll like this one. It does a lot of things really well, except for the glider mechanic. The radio has some great tunes, and the story setup made me excited for the now very uncertain sequels. If you can't wait for GTA 6, this will surely scratch that open world crime sim itch.
Will it, though? I don't know. Let me try and... I want to see what the critics were saying. Like, yeah, I mean, it got 64 on Metacritic. Or 61. It was like a mix.
It was quite buggy.
Yeah. It had some decent... Like, Destructoid gave it an 8. Game Informer 8.5. But then, yeah, like 4 out of 10 from videogamer.com. It got mixed or average reviews. It was barely playable, like with a large number of bugs, apparently. So, that, yeah, it does sound like... Other major concerns were with the quality of the story and the writing and the gameplay feeling dated. GameSpot wrote that while the combat and story were adequate, that the game struggled to live up to its legacy. Yeah, apparently it's a story that never finds its footing and too many bugs to count. So if they fixed a load of the bugs, then it sounds like it's an alright game.
Yeah, nice. Vicky says, I've been stuck in the Crew 2 and TCG Card Shop Simulator.
Great game.
Crew 2 I got for $1, and I've been hooked. It's just an open world Forza across the entire US. Sure, it's simplified, but my actual area is about 70% accurate, and it's fun to me.
Is that one that they're going to close forever?
The Crew 2.
Or is it the one I think they did?
It's one of them. I think it's the first one. Yeah. TCG is one of those endorphin hits every 5 minutes. It scratches the itch of, I want to open 600 booster packs, but don't have $3,000 to spend, and I still hit better in-game than I do IRL. Did you have that?
Sorry, yeah, the Crew shut its servers on March the 31st this year. Sorry, what was the question?
Did it scratch an itch of wanting lots of booster packs?
Yeah, it did make me want to go and... Well, to be honest, at the end of this month, Pokemon card game comes out, and I feel like on mobile, and I feel like I'm going to get that, play a lot. And,
yes,
and
I really
then,
want that.
Same, I think I'll do it. I get a lot, kind of understand what trading card Pokemon games are like, and then want to get the physical stuff.
Yeah, we'll see.
That'll be easy for you for Christmas.
Great. Chaddy says, I have played Zelda also and very much enjoyed. I will not saturate the reviews and instead also provide something different. Well, let us know next week then how you're getting on. I finished Prince of Persia The Lost Crown DLC, The Mask of Madness, which as a story was very short and not much plot to it. However, the platforming was very difficult and I found myself replaying sections many times. I refused to be beat and persevered. Good on you. The final boss fight was also really nice and felt myself getting better as I learned the mechanics each time. I think it would have taken 2 or 3 hours, but instead took me 5 as I was so bad. I really enjoyed they had still managed to provide some unique ways of moving about, which led to some interesting platforming puzzles, albeit some were frustrating at times. When I eventually did it, I felt super smart and skillful. I just wish there was a bit more of it. Overall, I'd give the DLC a 7 out of 10. The base game is great.
Yeah.
Really good. I also bought Tiny Glade, which is so chilled and pretty to look at. I just need some more time to sit down and really play around.
Yeah, it's one of those games it's like a doodling game. You press a few things and no matter what you press, it looks pretty.
Yeah. Meryl says, I bought a PS5 last Monday. Congrats to you. I installed Battlefield 5 from my PS4 disc, which I still enjoy. There's not much different about it. But then there was Astro's Playroom, and boy oh boy have I been enjoying that game. The combination with the new controller, very exciting, and I will be buying the complete game for sure.
Just imagine like
Astrobot.
playing Battlefield 5 for ages and then playing something different and being like, oh wow, look Battlefield, yeah. It must be like night and day going from Battlefield 5
they
to
are two very different
Astrobot.
Also, I really like that it doesn't matter how often you die in the game. It gives me a sense of peace knowing that I can try infinite amounts of time and eventually get it.
Yeah,
and
not like
Vicky
the old
replied,
days.
Celeste gave me that same vibe.
Celeste is the same in the way that you immediately just respawn to do it again. And yeah, I loved Celeste.
It's great that there's no lives. Like you just go.
That used to really bug me with like old Crash Bandicoot. Because it's punishing you for failing, and I'm like, yeah, you get punished by failing, like an ultimate punish for failing so many times. It's like, no, just you should be like enticing people to keep playing and to keep going at it.
I mean, it stems from arcade games.
Yeah,
of people wanting more and more money from more lives in an arcade machine, and that just became the norm on console. And now that shouldn't be, because if I buy a game, I just want to play it.
Yeah, no, like Crash Bandicoot, for example, they'd have checkpoints in there, and if you died, you'd go back to the checkpoint. But if you lost all your lives, and you have to restart, like I think Mario's the same, isn't it? Like, so, yeah, that kind of I'd never enjoyed that, and because it's like just an extra level of tension, which people might be like, hey, I liked that extra level of of annoyance and stuff, and it's teaching you to get good and all that, and I'm like, no, I've only got so much time in the day. Yeah, I don't want to repeat something that I've already done.
Right, and the last one we have is Clues. So actually, we only had one Zelda. Although I know a lot of you are playing it, so let us know next week what you think. Clues says, I've been flung into the melancholic frozen world of Frostpunk 2, and I love it in all its depressing, mournful string quartet glory. Did you play Frostpunk 1?
Yeah, on release day.
Yeah, you liked it?
I did. Yeah, it was good.
I think you should play this.
Not at 60 quid.
Well, much like Frostpunk, the sequel is a city management game while trying to keep your people warm and fed when the weather hits minus 120 degrees Celsius. The game is all about adversity and having conditions stacked heavily against you. So one moment you manage to get everyone fed, the next 120 people froze to death.
It's like Tromsø in Norway.
Oh, really?
I think so, yeah.
Frostpunk 2 is on a much larger scale than the first game. Unlike Frostpunk, where you can manage things building by building, Frostpunk 2 has you managing districts. You are forced to sprawl out of the haven that is New London's crater and into the blinding white wastes. And as if one city is not enough, you need to establish and manage satellite colonies to secure more resources for your city. It can get a tad overwhelming. However, if you are like me and you love Frostpunk, do not miss this. 8 out of 10. I enjoyed the first one.
Yeah. I know I will. I probably would like it. I just don't have the time to spend that much money on a game that's new. So, yeah, we'll see. But speaking of Zelda, a lot of people were talking about Zelda. And before we move on to the news, there was some talk. In fact, before we go on to this, I did bring up a couple of things. No, we'll talk about it in the news. But yeah, no, they did. I think it
was Rolling Stone.
Rolling Stone. It was Rolling Stone that did the top Zelda games of all time, and obviously they put these out because you get lots of engagement from it, and it worked. And they put number 1 as Tears of the Kingdom, 2 was Breath of the Wild, and 3 was Wind Waker.
Indeed.
And they're the only 3 that I've played much of. So
Wow.
that I agree with them.
Of course you do.
Actually, no, I finished Link's Awakening, but I wouldn't put that in the top 3.
Wow.
I thought that was
Link's
mediocre.
Awakening was number 6.
No.
No, says Ben.
It's one of the 4 games I've played, and I wouldn't put it in the top 4.
How
It was mediocre.
dare?
It also, the performance wasn't good.
Well,
It stuttered.
I disagree.
No, I just don't think Zelda games are for me, like old school Zelda games. It's weird because going back and playing Zelda, like Link's Awakening, and then you introducing me to some kind of Zelda-like games, I'm like, you know what? I don't really enjoy those. I like the open world of Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom and kind of using your own brain to solve puzzles. Whereas when like old school Zeldas, where it's like there is a puzzle to this, or there is a solution to this, and like, yeah, they're just not for me. But I understand they are for many, many people.
Zelda is life. I mean, I think you're in luck because what Aonuma, the producer of the series, has been saying is that the essence now of Zelda is that idea of being able to solve puzzles your own way,
Which is what
the open world games do, and is now what Echoes of Wisdom is doing as well. So
to an extent, I think.
Yeah, on a smaller scale, but it seems like that is the way forward for Zelda, which I think is a bit of a shame because I like the old school Zeldas as well.
Oh, you've got plenty of the old school Zeldas. It seems down here, like 19.
There are 19 games, yes. So, I mean, I'll go through the top 10 as you did the top 3.
Well, do the bottom 3. Do you agree with those 3 at the bottom? Or have you not played them? Spirit
19
Tracks or something.
Oh, so the bottom 3, yeah. So Triforce Heroes, Four Souls Adventures, and Spirit Tracks. I've actually not played any of those.
Huh.
Shock horror. But they're not great. 16 is Phantom Hourglass, which I have played and enjoyed, but it's not the best, for sure. 15 is Skyward Sword, and that deserves to be at the very bottom because motion controls.
Do you have to play with motion controls?
Hell.
You have to.
Well, the original Wii version you did. The Switch version, which I've also played, does have, well, it has different controls. So they're not motion controls, but essentially you use the stick, the right control stick, to sort of mimic the movements of motion controls.
Okay.
So you use that you flick it to swing the sword, or to throw a bomb. It's like, I just want to press a button to throw the bomb, and you have to like pull it back and flick forwards, and in order to mimic throwing it. And it's like, it's just fussy, and it just gets in the way of enjoying the game. I also don't like the art style. I also don't like a lot of the things in it. It's got a great story, but that's it.
A bad game.
Yeah, I don't like Skyward Sword. 14 is the Minish Cap, which is maybe a little low. I enjoy Minish Cap. It was cute. It's not like stand out for me. 13 is Zelda 2, which is probably too high. A lot of people.
We're getting a review on every single one.
Well, I'm just going through them all. A Link Between Worlds is 12. 11.
I thought people love that one. Oh no, Link to the Past.
Yeah. 11 is Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, which they've grouped together, which they sort of come as a pair, so understandable. So the top 10, Twilight Princess at number 10, which I'd probably agree with because I think it's a bit overrated. Echoes of Wisdom is 9, which is maybe surprising because it's new. Maybe that's recency bias. Or maybe it is genuinely really good. People do seem to really like it. Number 8 is The Legend of Zelda, the original, which I think is a bit dated now.
I have not played a single one of these games yet.
I know. 7, Majora's Mask. 6, Link's Awakening. 5, Ocarina of Time, which is definitely number 1. 4, A Link to the Past. 3, Wind Waker. 2, Breath of the Wild. 1, Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, my top would be Ocarina of Time, number 1. Tears of the Kingdom, number 2. And Wind Waker, number 3.
So Breath of the Wild is 4 for you?
I think Breath of the Wild would be 4, yeah. Only because, I mean, it's hard because in some ways I would put Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom together because they're so similar. But I think as much as Breath of the Wild for me had the originality factor and the excitement to it, Tears of the Kingdom I think overall improves on it in a lot of ways and is the better game of the two.
It's weird. I feel like people would be more inclined to put it as number one if it was called Breath of the Wild 2. Because it's Tears of the Kingdom, it's trying to like stand out on its own, but it's actually just a direct.
Well, that's the thing. It's like,
thing.
but is it a direct sequel? It's sort of not.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was like.
It's the same world, but it's sort of not actually the same timeline. I think it's all a bit weird.
Oh.
But yeah, so hey, a lot of people have a lot of opinions and seem to disagree with these things, and that's always the case. You do a top list, and it's done to get people talking.
I think
and
I would
it's not necessarily truthful.
I would put Breath of the Wild at number one, just because, and it is.
You haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom.
Well, that as well, but also Breath of the Wild. Like, I'll never get that experience again that you get at the beginning of Breath of the Wild when it's like you're wandering around on the plateau and you're doing all the little challenges and you're kind of solving the very easy puzzles and the shrines, but like getting all of your abilities right at the start, and you kind of make your way around, and it's not a small place, the plateau, it's quite a big area. And then it's like, but as you're doing that, you can see all the world around you, below you, and then you scoot off that with your little paraglider, and then it's just like, go and do what you want. And like that feeling in an open world game that, like no matter what you do, you just go and make your own adventure and you go and do it. That experience I'll never get again with a game.
That's true.
For a first time anyway.
And that first time feeling is what makes Breath of the Wild.
Yes.
But I think the more you play Tears of the Kingdom, overall, it's more than just that feeling. There's so much more to it.
But I would always recommend people play Breath of the Wild first.
For sure.
So, yeah. Anyway, that was the top Zeldas of all time.
Ocarina of Time.
No. This is only on 3DS.
No. Anyway, the news. News. You always do weird things like that.
We need a jingle.
A good one. So last week was TGS, the Tokyo Game Show.
Total Game Show.
Tokyo.
Yeah. Speaking of, my friend went on a cruise to Japan and other places. And
what kind of cruise?
Well, he said it wasn't a gay cruise, but he said everybody on there was.
Wow.
Which is what another person, Gary, just to out them, said as well. So I think, maybe we should go on. You a fan of cruising?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And we went there and then just randomly sent me a picture. It was like, hey, look what I saw. And it was just, I don't know where they were. They're like freaking ship's engine, but it wasn't because it wasn't on the ship. But just a selfie with Phil Spencer. And I was like, okay, right. Just bump into Phil Spencer in Tokyo.
Xbox had quite a big presence at Tokyo Game Show.
Is that a surprise for you, with it being not the most Japanese,
well, that's the thing.
popular thing in Japan?
It's not really a surprise. Like, Xbox is not popular in Japan, but you can tell that they want to be. And so they're really pushing for that. And so they have a big presence there. They had a big showcase as part of it where they were showing off all the games to Xbox, but also Japanese developed games coming to Xbox to try and woo that audience. There was a lot of Konnichiwa, Phil Spencer death, which was awkward.
Yeah, metaphor, Fantasia.
Yeah.
Fantasia.
So like Sarah Bond death, Konnichiwa, which I hated. Although this has just reminded me, there was one game that was shown at the Xbox showcase at TGS.
Oh, yeah.
Which I looked at and thought, this looks incredible. And it's called Threads of Time. It is the first game from a new developer from Canada called Rio Games. And their developers have made games like Shovel Knight, Fortnite, Deltarune, Tomb Raider. And they've also had help for this game from the developers and composers from the Xenoblade Chronicles games and the Mana games. And this game is called Threads of Time. It is essentially a sort of spiritual successor to Chrono Trigger. So it's pixel art, but done in a sort of HD 2D kind of way, and has a very similar time-traveling storyline through different time periods. So from prehistory right up to like apocalypse and cyberpunk and all this kind of stuff. So it's got that sort of retro vibe, but turn-based battles. But it looks incredible, and it's sort of come out of nowhere. Like I said, it's the first game from this new developer. It reminded me a lot of Sea of Stars, which Sea of Stars is from a Canadian developer and is a spiritual successor to Chrono Trigger. And it's very inspired by. So it's got sort of Sea of Stars vibes. But if you like Sea of Stars, then go look up Threads of Time, because it's the one thing from that presentation I was like, I want that game.
I love the different. I love the different times that it showed on there, because obviously it's the same kind of art style, but it's also very different settings, which I like to look up.
Yeah, you need to play Chrono Trigger.
Well, I was looking for that to play it on the Vita, but it doesn't exist apparently.
Play it on the Steam Deck.
Yeah, might have to. Did you play it on there?
No, but I played it on Steam.
Okay.
But I sat on my PC and played it.
Oh, that's before I moved in.
Yes. So another big thing at TGS was Death Stranding 2.
Actually, I didn't watch any of that. I don't want to know anything.
Well, no, it's not details about the game.
Good.
So Kojima was there and had this big presentation and was talking about stuff. The one thing he did talk about was the release date, which he already knows what it is. But for unforeseen circumstances, he's not allowed to share the date.
AKA in case it clashes with GTA 6.
Probably. But it is some point next year, essentially, is what he was saying. So there you go. I mean, since we're talking about 2025, it will be released next year. So we will announce it at some point next year. But due to some unforeseen circumstances, we cannot announce it today, which was last week.
I guess it'll be that. But also, they will. If GTA comes out in August, then they'll push it to October or whatever, and vice versa. So, and also that'll be the thing I buy the PS5 Pro for.
Of course. Also, surely he'll be at the Game Awards. Like, him and Jeff Keighley are together. So come on.
He wasn't at... I was very disappointed he wasn't at Gamescom.
That's true.
Opening Night Live.
There was also a 20-minute gameplay demo, which I won't talk about because there's nothing in the article about it. But if you want to go and watch it, you can. You don't have to.
I don't. I like... You know me. I like an announcement trailer. Love it. And then know the release date, and then I go and play.
Yeah. That's
it. I don't want to see anything other than that. That's like the Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I saw the announcement, and I've not seen a single thing since.
Great.
Don't care about anything else.
That's fair.
Unless it pops up on, obviously, in like a showcase or whatever.
Yeah. Another big series from Japan is Final Fantasy. And not strictly from TGS, but there are a couple of bits, including that the next patch in 14, 7.1, is going to be called Crossroads, and it's coming in November.
Set in a supermarket?
A supermarket?
Yeah. Oh, it was a hotel, wasn't it?
Crossroads?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you know what happened at the very end of Crossroads?
Tell me.
The very, very last episode of Crossroads, they woke up and they were all just dreaming, and they were working at a supermarket. That's why I got it in my head, supermarkets. Can you imagine watching a TV show for years and years and years, and at the end, they all wake up? That has to be the most unsatisfying end to a series ever. Speaking of Final Fantasy, though, I'm going to do a little test for you. So a person on Reddit has put together a kind of a timeline-esque type thing of Final Fantasy, and it just shows every single mainline game, plus all the side bits, plus all this equals, plus all like the other things that are associated with it. And I'm going to do a little test for you, and I want you to see if you can guess in order everything for Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, I don't know.
You do. You love Final Fantasy VII.
I don't know all the things.
See how many you can guess, and don't look at the screen.
No, well, I'm going to literally look at the screen now.
Well, don't look at the screen. The very, very first one is The First Soldier.
Yeah, and there's Crisis Core.
Crisis Core is there, but also, like, alongside that, I think, or between it is...
Well, I've seen it on the screen, but Ever Crisis.
Ever Crisis. And what comes after
that's
Crisis
sort of
Core?
Everything and anything. After Crisis Core would be the main game.
No. Before Crisis.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll go for the original one. So, yeah, then the main game, and then after that?
Oh, God. See, I don't know the order of them. There's the film. There's the Vincent shooting game.
What was that called?
Something Crisis. I can't remember.
Anyway, well, after that comes On the Way to a Smile.
Sure.
Do you know what that is?
No.
What is that? Like, I started looking at these and I'm like, really? What are these? And then I Googled and yeah, they do exist. On the way to...
Oh,
It's a
I remember
book.
the names now.
It's a book. It's a collection of 7 short stories written by Najima, the scenario writer for Seven and Advent Children. So there is an actual book after.
Okay.
The Kids Are All Right.
No
Must be
idea.
another media. Then Advent Children. Then Dirge of
Cerberus. There we go.
and then Lost Episode.
Yeah.
So there's like, yeah, I've posted it in the Discord, discord.gg/biggestbenders if you want to see, go and scroll to the Final Fantasy thing, but it's wild. It is wild just how many... Is Final Fantasy Tactics part of 12?
Yes, so they're both set in the world of Ivalice.
Of course. So yeah, go and check it out because it's really interesting. Like, I love 10. 10 is my favorite Final Fantasy, and I did not realize that there wasn't just 10 and 10-2. Apparently there's one called Eternal Calm, which is like a 30-minute cutscene. There's Last Mission. I don't know what that is. There's 10-2-5. There's a thing called Will, which is just a radio drama, and apparently it's very much just a drama. So it's in a completely different style to the game or anything like that, and it's like gossipy and people like, oh my god, you're sleeping with him, that kind of thing that people hate. So yeah, go check it out. It is wild. I did not realize just how many things. There's also Traces of Two Pasts was before 7 Rebirth, and they didn't include Integrate in there, did they? They've missed out a couple of things, obviously.
No, but it's sort of...
Well, they would definitely put it in there. But yeah, so go and check that out. But it's wild just how many kind of official-ish side things there are. Because obviously, like, they're not including fan fiction, but if the series producer or whatever is writing a bunch of short stories, then that's probably canon.
Mm-hmm.
So go and check it out.
There you go. So yes, anyway, 7.1 for 14 is coming in November. It's also obviously extending the story, which I'm interested in, but it's also bringing the 11 series of raids for Final Fantasy 11 as the celebration of that. So that's coming in November, so look out for that. Yoshi P's also been talking about 16 on Xbox, which everybody wants, or Xbox owners want to happen, and it seems sort of inevitable. They're talking about this multi-platform approach. He said, of course, we did announce the PC version of the game, so looking towards the Xbox version, we do want to release it on Xbox. But when it comes to the specifics, such as when the game will be available, we are not in a position to be able to share anything. But of course, I want to say that it's not as if there's zero hope, and we very much do want to achieve that. So players should not give up in terms of their hopes, i.e. it's happening, they just can't say when.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably coming to Xbox at some point. He also talked a little bit about 9, which was a quote that went around quite a bit over the weekend, where he was saying that there are many requests for Final Fantasy 9 to be remade. But when you think about Final Fantasy 9, it's a game with huge volume. When you think about all of that volume, I wonder if it's possible to remake that as a single title. It's a difficult one. It's a tough question.
Well, it's a very open secret that they're remaking 9. So he's like, is he doing a bit of marketing for them so that when it comes out...
Is he being coy?
Well, is it so that when it gets announced, he's like, oh my God, look how much you're going to get for just one single payment for a game? Or is he teasing them that it's going to be more than one game? Or is he saying that this is like, if we remade it like 7, then it would need to be in separate installments, or what?
My guess is that maybe they started thinking, let's do it as a trilogy like they did with 7, and it's a massive game and they've split it up and they're going to release it. However, that's not really worked very well for 7 because the sales have gone down and I think people have got bored.
People don't like episodic games. Like, they learned that with, I think, Life is Strange when that first came out. People were criticizing it. Hitman, I actually really, really liked that, but I was one of the few.
Yeah.
Because I used to love mastering a level and being like, okay, put it to one side. And then when another one comes out, I'm like, great, and now I can get stuck into it.
That's not a story game, really. Yeah. Whereas when there's a story, you just want to be able to enjoy it all and not have it in little chunks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wonder if they have gone back and thought, let's not do it as 3. Let's try and put it as 1 and trim it back a bit. I don't know. So, I mean, look, hopefully they are still doing it.
Do you like Netflix doesn't just release all of them at the same time? Can you imagine if they released 7, Remake, Rebirth, and Refantasio or whatever at the same time? That's not going to be what the third one's called.
Final Fantasy 7 Refantasio.
Fantasio.
I would definitely play that.
Yeah.
And the last story to throw out is another Zelda one. but it's already been beaten in under an hour. Because someone is speedrunning it, which is because of a glitch. It's not because of clever echo use. There is a glitch that basically lets you just skip to the end of the game, which I wouldn't be surprised if Nintendo patched out. But it's also quite fun to think that people are going to be speedrunning that game and finding fun ways of using echoes to get through it. So look out for more of that in the next couple of weeks.
I need to watch some speedrunning of Breath of the Wild because I bet that's fun to watch.
Oh, that's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And once you finish Tears of the Kingdom, you can do that as well.
Yeah. Excellent. Right, well, that is the news. That is the games we've been playing, and yeah, that is it for today's podcast. So yeah, what have we got planned? Well, we've got Peter K on Tuesday,
Yes.
and this weekend we might be doing a Lego stream if we reach £1,000, or if I reach £1,000 fundraise. We're 930, so fingers crossed. And yeah, that's it really.
Yeah. And there are some big games coming out next week to talk about.
There are Metaphor Refantasio. When is Sonic out?
Sonic is out mid-October.
Okay, so we've got another.
So you've got another couple of weeks, yeah.
Yeah, there's some big games coming out. Go and check them out. There's Until Dawn came out today. Silent Hill 2.
Silent Hill soon, yeah.
So there's all the horror games. I really want to play Phasmophobia in VR. That's one I really want to play in a horrible way.
Good.
So I'll do that, but you'll have to be in here. Hold my hand.
No.
So yeah, look out for it. Let us know what you think. Let us know in the comments what you're playing. If you're not in the Discord, and yeah, have a good one. Where can we find you, Ed?
You can find me at ed_nights on Twitch and Twitter and Threads and wherever else.
And you can find me at Biggest Menace everywhere. Check out YouTube. Our Thank Goodness You're Here video just hit 150,000 views, which is freaking wild.
That is wild.
And also, I haven't said it yet, but I'm going to be reducing my live streams down to 2 a week.
Oh.
Which will be on a Friday and a Sunday. So Friday will be community or Friday Night Wrestling, and Sunday will be whatever I'm playing. So yeah, Friday and Sunday. There might be the odd one I added, like if a big game comes out and I've got the day off or whatever. But yeah, I'm going to be trying to use the week to chill a little bit and also do some YouTube stuff. So expect the Let's Plays to be a lot more consistent. Look out for Rebirth. There are other ones I really want to play, like Mafia and Dragon Age Origins and all of that stuff. So yeah, keep an eye out for those.
Nice.
And yeah, find me on Biggest Menace 1 on Twitter if you want to find me on there. Although I've not got it on my phone anymore, so I rarely do stuff on there compared to what I used to.
There we go.
But yeah,
well, thank you all very much for listening.
Go to Swapping Joysticks.
Watching.
And thank you. Go to swappingjoysticks.com if you want to listen or watch our previous episodes. And if I don't see a fruit week, I'll see a fruit window.
Don't say that.
Why?
It's a horrible phrase.
Why?
It's just weird. That's something original.
If I don't see you through week, I'll see you in my dreams.
Yeah.
Bye.